I'm going to talk today a little bit about some of the newer baits that I got towards the end of the season here that some of them just started to try out. I'm going to try them next season for some bigger fish, muskies and pike, or really big bass, one or the other. Some baits like this. This is a River to Sea bait designed by Larry Dahlberg. It's called a Whopper Plopper. It's a topwater bait for muskie and pike, large pike and muskie. It's got a big single-bladed propeller on the backside of it. When you draw it through the water, it makes a lot of noise. The propeller spins, of course, when you pull it. It doesn't have a rattle. Well, it's got a little bit of a rattle in it. I don't know whether that helps or not with the topwater, but this propeller really makes a lot of noise. I mean, you can hear this thing 40 yards away from the boat. You can hear this thing coming. Even in choppy water, I've tried it in choppy, wavy water. You can hear it from a long way off. It's in the Fire Tiger, the orange, green, and yellow. As you can see, it's got serious meat hooks in it, front and rear. Seems really solid. Wire comes all the way through the body. Real stout. The wire is pretty heavy gauge. The hooks are heavy gauge. It's a well constructed lure. Came with the heavy duty split ring and everything on it as well. For big top water, definitely will attract fish from deeper water because it makes a lot of racket coming through the water. Here's another one. This is a bluegill bait. It's swim bait. It's called a bull bream. And it's jointed, of course, with the rubber tail for swimming. This is a slow sink model. Smaller hooks than the River to Sea. The River to Sea, of course, is designed for really big fish. Same on both sides. They make different models of this too. They make a bluegill, they make a shell cracker, the brim from the south. All basically the same. This is a reaction lure. It swims really well. It's got a real natural swimming action to it. And then it, like I said, it's got a slow sink. If you let it pause, it will just sink really, really slowly. And they make, ones that suspend, and they make ones that will float up really slowly too. That's for when they're biting on the bluegills. Here's one of Savage Gear trout. Trout is popular, and the Huddleston made trout very, very popular over here. They have line through. Savage Gear has line through as well. This is a Savage Gear, ready rig trout. It's got the tie on the top of the head. It's got the big hook in the back, and then the treble in the body with the paddle tail. This again is a good swimming action too. It's like any type of swim bait with a paddle tail. You get the thump of the tail, but it's real natural looking. Casts well. It's a decent size. Here's one I got that my parents sent me because I couldn't find one here. It's Strike Pro Buster Jerk. It's very popular in Europe. You see a lot of guys on Canal Gratis using this, and River Piker uses this. So this is one I really wanted to get and try. Flat-sided lure. It's a jerk bait. It's got a good side-to-side action to it. Casts really well. It's got a rattle in it. Big eye. Nicely finished. There's another one that came from Europe. It's a soft foreplay from Savage Gear. This has a wire in it, so it actually pulls the bait. If it gets hooked, the fish gets a hook. On the bottom here, you have another one on the top where you can rig a hook. The rig will pull free, and then the bait will come up the line, so it doesn't, let the pike shake it out of his mouth. This is a real natural swimming action too. Very lifelike in the water. And it's a decent size as well. Creek Chub by Bagley. Very popular lure. It's a crankbait, dives really deep, very hard vibration on it. It's jointed, of course, for that swimming action. It's got a pretty steep lip on it. Again, real heavy split rings. Really strong hooks. It's well made bait. Decent size as well for pike again. These are gliding lures. There's an X-Rap Subwalker. Real high flash. Of course, it's a Rapala. Rapala's lures are all pretty high quality. It's in the clown color, the neon yellow with the white and the red head. It's popular smallmouth color for bass size lures. This it's like it fishes just like a jerk bait. It'll suspend about 3-4 feet under the water, and then it will dart from side to side when you twitch the rod. It's just twitch from side to side, just like the busted jerk. This one is pretty similar. This is a glider by Rapala as well. It's in a bluegill color. Again, Rapala's, super quality. Real quality hooks, quality split rings. Again, this is the same thing. It suspends under the water and you jerk it and it'll dart from, glide from side to side in a big zigzag. Either fast or slow, depending on how you work the rod. These are really good baits. A lot of these baits I just upsized. The baits that I use for bass that I upsized for pike or musky size. Here's another one from Europe. Although I could start to get these here now. This is a 3D eel Savage Gear. It's got the curly tail. Comes with 2 tails. It's got a real nice magnetic hook holder on the bottom here. The hooks stick to it. That's an excellent idea. It keeps the hook in line with the body. You can also switch the hooks. These are real popular. Seen this on a review from River Piker too, and I thought, yeah, I'll definitely try one of those. Has the shorter tail, so you can switch the tail. This one's a short one, so you can use it with the shorter tail as a glider, or the longer tail as a swim bait. These are slightly smaller. These are ready rigged Savage Gear eel. Again in the Fire Tiger color. Sometimes in the spring we get out, cloudy water, algae. There's a smaller version of a natural, again, ready rigged eel. These are all Savage Gear baits. These are interesting. These are Strike Pro crankbaits. It's a swim bait. Again, you can see the jointed body. It's got the weight transfer in the front. You see the weights in there. Real good swimming action on these. Really good swimming action. The paint, of course, you can see the paint. This is a bass colored one. You can see it's kind of iridescent. It's also ghost. It's like see-through. It's got the translucence. So for clear water, these are really good. Doesn't give the fish a real good look at the bait. He just knows that there's something there. It's got the single hook on the bottom. But the blade has a tendency to protect the hook because it swims kind of, low with that big deep blade. So I haven't really tried it in heavy weed, but you could also, trim the bottom of treble if you wanted to get it to clear weed a little bit better. This actually glows in the dark. If that makes a difference or not, I don't know. Maybe for darker water, it actually glows. The bottom of the body here glows in the dark. Here's another model of the same lure. This is a rainbow trout color. Again, the trout colors are real popular for the pike for whatever reason. I think some of the big pike and the big bass too here in the US, they grow big in trout stocked waters because they feed trout the high protein pellets, so they grow large quickly. And then of course when the fish eats the high protein trout, they grow big quickly too. Same lure, just a different paint job. Here's a pike type spoon. This is a bucktail spinner, an inline spinner for pike. Pretty decent size. Big single treble in the back there with the bucktail. Real popular for the muskie too, for burning them over the weed beds and stuff. Here's a large hairpin spinner for pike. It's in blueback herring. As you can see, it's pretty decent size. If I put it in my hand here, just a jumbo size hairpin spinner bait. Use these a lot for bass. This is in the blueback herring color, the white with the blueback. That up. This would be a normal size spinnerbait. So you can see the size difference in it. This is a bluegill strike ring with a heavy hook, the Gamakatsu hook. Another thing that was pretty popular here was shoalfish baits like this. If I open this up, slide the head up to the top. This was made by Yum, I believe. So now what it gives you is a single anchor at the top where the head is, and like a spinnerbait body behind it, but it's got 4 spinner blades on it. Then it's keel weighted here on the bottom, so it swims, you know, with the hook facing up when it swims that way. But it gives the impression of a shoal of bait fish instead of just one bait fish. For schooling bass, this is really for bass. Although I'm sure pike would hit it too. It's designed for bass. It's in the fall time and in the springtime when bass are, you know, hitting school and bait fish. This is pretty good, especially in, you know, just offshore or in open water. If you're getting schools of fish, that's a good bait to throw. This is a very controversial bait here. This was borrowed, I think, pretty much from saltwater. This is an umbrella rig. This is made by Yum too. It's pretty much a direct copy of a saltwater rig they use for stripers. It's just scaled down. This is castable instead of, I mean, you can trawl it behind the boat too, but this is castable. This is a Berkley version, I believe. These are our Berkley minnows. Of course, you can change the baits to whatever you want, but there's 5 baits on there, and they all have hooks in them. And I have seen it on video where people have caught 5 fish on these baits at one time, especially if you have like a wolf pack of bass that are mobbing schooling fish. As soon as one hits it, you know, it kind of excites the shoal of the fish up, and then you'll get one after the other after the other. So you can conceivably catch more than one fish at a time on it. But you do need a heavy rig to throw it. There's no doubt about that. You know, total in weight, it probably weighs 5 or 6 ounces altogether, because it does have a head in the top here where you anchor your line. And then it's got the titanium wire arms, and then you got basically 5 swim baits behind it. So it is some work to cast it and retrieve it all day, but apparently they work. These are not legal. They are legal in the FLW, but not legal for Bassmaster, because they can only use a single lure. They can't use multiple lures. So for some of the tournaments, they're not legal. Even in some states, that's not legal, because some of the states limit the amount of hooks you can have at one time. Now, PA just changed their laws recently where you can have unlimited amount of hooks. I think that was just to suit this bait. It used to be you could only have 3 hooks, so I would only be able to run 3 of these baits with hooks and then have to clip the hooks off the other 2 or use dummies on it. But now you can use them now. They changed that rule. But those are some of the baits that I'm going to be trying for this coming season, and see how they work. Hopefully we get some videos of some fish